Om Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaraachaarya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. त्रैलोक्यनाथ हरिमीड्यमुदार सत्वं शक्तेस्तनूजतनयं परमेष्टिकल्पं जीमूतमुक्तविमलाम्बरचारुवर्णं वासिष्ठमुग्रतपसं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्. So we were looking at the Tattvamasi Vakya and what are all the different interpretations of that possible, because the student who is also sometimes acting as the Purva Pakshi listed out how it can be interpreted. In fact, you can see here, first interpretation is that even though Brahman and Jiva are said to be identical by Tattvamasi, but it is not really instructing that. Instead, we have to take it as Upasana. Okay, so the Jiva or the individual has to be looked upon as Brahman, like even other Upasanas have been given in the Upanishad. So Mano Brahmeti Upasita, like this. There is a Upasana is there. Mind, Akasha, Aditya, all these different devatas are to be looked upon as the Upasya devatas, and you have to do Upasana of them as them being Brahman. So if you take it as Upasana, then even though like mind and Brahman are different, but you are still doing only Upasana, right? It's a visualization. Like that, we can take this Tattvamasi. That is one argument which was put forth. Otherwise, you can also consider them as figurative, Gaunataha. Like even saying Simho Manavakaha, like this, generally we give one example for that. The student is a lion, or here our Acharya has also given similar, Mrigarad, Yam Ishwara Gupta. So Ishwara Gupta, there is a person called Ishwara Gupta. He is called a lion again. Mrigarad means lion, the king of animals. Why? Because both lion and this person are fearless. So there is some similarity has to be there. Based on that similarity, you can call one as the other. So we can say this Ishwara Gupta is a lion because both of them are fearless. Vibhayam Purusham, like this Acharya is saying here. So it can be interpreted as a figurative speech that Jiva is Brahman, is only figurative, it's not real. Or it can be praise. Stutaye is another option. Like even when somebody is giving you something, correct? Many people help others, and those who receive the help, they will say, you are Indra, you are Chandra, like that. You can praise them. So that's what here Acharya is saying. Maghavanasi, Vishnurasi iti yatha stutaye. So for the purpose of praise, you can use hyperbole. You can say it's a hyperbole. Okay. But so that is another thing. So you are just you want to make the individual feel good about himself. So you are saying you are Brahman. Or the other option is very funny. The fourth one, what they are giving is, they are saying, no. Why are you saying Jiva is Brahman? Why can't you say Brahman has become Jiva really as samsari? Okay. You are saying that Jiva is not samsari because Brahman and Jiva are identical and Brahman is asamsari. Now I am reversing that. Okay, Brahman is asamsari, Jiva is samsari, but Brahman has, by making Brahman and Jiva identical, make it the other way around and say that no, Brahman also has become samsari, Brahman has become Jiva. Like this also, Tvamiti Shruti Vachya Satatva Katam Athava. Okay, Satayeva Veda Vachanam. So the Sat alone has now become the Jiva. Like this, why we cannot take. Okay. So like this, the four options are given. And finally, that student also asked, if you say that Jiva and Brahman are one and the same, then it is a Siddha Vastu, correct? It is already an established fact or truth. That being the case, why do I not know it already? Why am I even having this feeling that I am a limited individual suffering? All these things, okay? So, Kimiti Swakameva na Rupam Avet. One's own Swarupa, one's own very nature, if it is Brahman, why am I not knowing it? So that itself is actually a pointer that I am not Brahman. Like this, the student has listed out all his objections, all the different interpretations. Okay. And also what he is saying is, therefore, he is concluding, in 54 he has concluded, student is concluding that therefore Tatvamasi cannot be a Vakya which is actually instructing the identity of Jiva and Brahma. And even if any other Mahavakya like this you find anywhere else in the Upanishads, they also have to be considered in either of these four options which I have given, okay, above. Like this is this. So Acharya takes that is the best alternate argument actually. So we have to defeat that, correct? So Acharya takes that and then says all the Upasana examples you gave, correct? In that, two important things you are missing. He is trying to now show the difference between Tattvamasi and the Upasana Vakyas. In the Upasana Vakya, Mano Brahmeti Upasita, like that it is there, correct? Mind is Brahman, thus you do Upasana, thus you visualize. Like this, it is given. So in all the Upasana examples, iti word is there, extra. And Upasita, the Vidhi is also is there. You have to do the Upasana of mind as Brahman, like that. Mind is Brahman, do Upasana. But in the case of Tattvamasi, the iti is also missing. It is just Tattvamasi, correct? And there is no Upasita or any Vidhi also is not there. There is no verb that you have to do Upasana. So that being the case, there is a Vilakshanata, he says. There is a difference between what you are citing. In fact, most confusions and illogical thinking is because people try to compare two dissimilar things, thinking that they are similar and arrive at some conclusion, correct? This is very common even in day-to-day life. In fact, if you watch TV debates and all that, they do that all the time. Obfuscation, many times they do it deliberately, I think. Political debates and all, if you see, it's all completely, they try to fool the people. But sometimes even genuinely people have all these kinds of fallacy, correct? There is a fallacy in their thinking. So anyway, so here the Acharya is pointing out that there is a dissimilarity between your analogy and actually what is there. So they are not the same. Okay. So in Tattvamasi, both iti and the vidhi, the vidhiling or lot has to be there, correct? Both are missing. There is no verb like upasita, and iti also is not there. Iti only makes it as a that they both are not the same, but still you have to look upon them as same, correct? That is the upasana. So that is not there. Then the students comes back with a very interesting argument now, or interesting observation. What is that? He says, okay, iti and that vidhi is not there. And then you are saying that if it is samanadikaranyam is there, correct? Basically, jiva is brahma, tat is tvam. It is like saying the pot is clay, correct? If we say that, because even in the case of mana and buddhi, etc., or even the other aditya, akasha, what is said there is the karya has to be looked upon as the karana. The upasana itself is that the karya has to be looked upon as the karana. Brahman is jagat karanam. It is the karana of everything. It is the cause of everything. And any one of the effects of that can be visualized as the entire Brahman itself. That is the upasana itself actually. So, karye karana drishtihi. So, in the effect, we see the cause. Now, if you take like that, the effect becomes anrita. Okay. The effect will become false really, because the effect really doesn't exist. Whether you take pot and clay, jewelry and gold, like that you can take many different effects and cause, and everywhere you will see that the cause alone is mithya, anritam. In fact, that is the very teaching of that 6th chapter in Chandogya Upanishads, correct? The Mritika ityeva satyam, like this, it says that explicitly. So if that is the case, now I agree that Tattvamasi doesn't have any vidhi, etc. But still it is a appositional sentence, correct? Apposition means what? Two nouns come together with the is as the verb. That means they are pointing to the same locus. If two nouns are pointing to the same locus, generally it is one is adjective, another is noun we can take. Okay, like red rose. If you say rose is red, means redness is there in the same place where roseness also is there. But that is one type of appositional sentence. But in the other type, where when we say pot is clay, the pot itself is negated, correct? It is called badhayam samanadikaranyam. In fact, to make it even more clear, we can say snake is rope. Snake is rope is a negational apposition, you can say in English, correct? Because one noun is negated by pointing out that really it is the other noun. So when we say snake is rope, it is a negation really. Similarly, when we say pot is clay, it is a negation. So like that here, when we say Tattvamasi, Tvam is negated, he is saying. Tvam is false, Jiva is false, and Brahman alone is Satyam. Brahman is the Karana, Jiva is effect, like that it will become. So like this, he is pointing out. So there is a Samana Vibhakti Taya Vidhi Shabdam iti cha vihaya yadi Janakena Sata Sahayogam Yat Andritam Taditi Sputam Uktam Abhut. So this is where I think we left last week, the 59, where he is saying that mana etc. and Brahman, they are in apposition, and you leave out all this Vidhi Shabdam and all, he is saying. Vidhi Shabdam itim vihaya, give up Vidhi and all is fine. iti and vidi, shabda and all you can give up. By taking only this mind and Brahman together, considering the mind is effect, Brahman is karana, that we both agree. Mind is not satyam, it is andritam. Okay, andritam taditi sputam. It is clear that the effect is andrita, it is mithya, false. Now, he is now extending that. Now this, I agree now. Now he has changed track. Okay, so he is now saying Tattvamasi also is similar. So we'll see that. Nanu jiva satorapi tattvamiti sputameka vibhaktya vidhanamidam kathamasya sharira bhrito nritata na bhaved avibhakta vibhakti yujaha. So Nanu, he is now questioning. See, I accept that when you say mind is Brahman, mind is Karya, Brahman is Karana, and mind is Andrita because of that. Okay. Similarly, Jiva Satorapi, Jiva is Tvam, Sat is Tat. Okay. Tattvamiti, when you say Tattvamasi, that is Sputam Eka Vibhakti, he says. It is clear that there is only one Vibhakti, means both are in Prathama Ekavachanam. They are pointing to the same locus, means in this case also the Jiva is the effect, Tat is the cause. Therefore what? So Eka Vibhakti Abhidanam is there. Abhidanam means basically it is a naming, correct? So when you are indicating or using two words with the same Vibhakti, Prathama Ekavachanam here, they are both first case singular, then in this case, whatever we are interpreting it as Badhayam Samanadhikaranyam, therefore, how can there not be Andritata, he is asking. He is asking a negative way. That means what? Jiva is definitely Andrita only, false. So, Katham Asya Sharira Britaha. Sharira Brit is the Jiva or the individual, one who is supporting the body, one who has the body consciousness, you can say, Sharira Brit. Sharira Britaha. Andritata na bhavet katam, he is asking. How can there not be falsity of this, the one who is supporting this body, who is the individual, the jiva? Because both of them are having avibhakta vibhakti yujaha, means what? They both are connected by avibhakta, means abhinna, means the same vibhakti. They both are coming in the same case and same number, correct? Both. It's prathama ekavachanam. They both are appositional, and therefore the jiva is andrita. That is the point now. So in the 60, he is now pointing out, and which is not what the Siddhanti wants. Okay, Siddhanti is saying that jiva is Brahman. Jiva is not andrita. Understand that. When we say jiva is Ishvara is the equation. The Mahavakya is always jiva is Ishvara. But there what we say is neither Jiva nor Ishvara or Andrita are false. But what we say is Jivatvam and Ishvaratvam have to be given up, and they both are nothing but Shuddha Chaitanya. As Shuddha Chaitanya, they are identical, one and the same. That is the point here. Correct? So the Siddhanti doesn't want to accept that Jiva is Andrita. So, but the Purva Pakshi is now driving him there, you can see. Okay. So this is the interpretation of the Purva Pakshi here. Now the Siddhanti is answering, Guru is answering. Okay, let us see that. Prakritera bidhana padena yatha vikriter abhidhanam upaiti yujam andrutatvam matistu tatha vikritau Mridayam ghatayitya bidhasu yatha. Okay, the Guru is again paraphrasing the argument. Okay, he is saying, yes, Prakritehe. Prakriti means here the cause. Cause only is called as Prakriti. And Vikriti is the effect, the modification. So the effect is nothing but a modification of the cause, correct? Or at least the cause taking a different name and form. So there are two abhidhanas or words. Okay, one is the cause, another is the effect, and they both are connected to each other. When you connect them to each other with the same vibhakti, then what happens? Andritatva matihi. There is this understanding or cognition that the effect is false. This is correct. We accept that, whatever you have said. Like even mridayam gataha. The analogy or the example for that is what? This I am this pot. I am gataha mrideva. This pot is nothing but clay. This pot is clay. When I say, all of us understand that the pot is false, clay alone is satyam. This is fine. Okay. So the 61 is nothing but Guru is again accepting whatever this premise. It's not a problem for us. In fact, this is what is taught by the Upanishad also, which is fine. Now continuing, Vikrititvam avadi manah prabhritehe bahusha shrutishu prakritestu sataha atayeva samana vibhaktitaya mana adi suvedyam asatyamiti. Okay, so Vikrititvam avadi manah prabhritehe bahushaha shrutishu prakritestu sataha. So now this Mritgata was the example given. Now we'll take it to the whatever is taught in the Upanishad. In the Upanishad also, Sadvastu is the Prakriti or the cause. Okay, from that, this entire world, Manah Prabhritehe, starting from mind onwards, because we have been discussing mind and Aditya and Akasha, etc. Correct? As given in the Chandogya Upanishad itself, because those are the upasanas which have been given, or those are the effects which are being discussed. So mind, etc. are all Vikriti, and they all have come from Prakriti, which is the Sadvastu, and this has been mentioned many times by the Shruti, in the Shruti. Okay, this is there. Therefore what? And they both are in Samana Vibhakti. Mind is Brahma, Akasha is Brahma, Aditya is Brahma, like that. They are in Samana Vibhakti. So Ataha eva Samana Vibhaktitaya Mana Adi Suvedyam Asatyamiti. So now first one example was given in 61. In 62, whatever is given in the Upanishad also is accepted by us. The Guru is accepting, correct. When you say that, when you look upon mind as Brahman and not as just Upasana, what you say is correct. Mind is Asatyam only. We also accept that. In fact, it is our Ishta. That's what we want. Okay. So that is fine. But then what do we not, what do we don't accept is, that will come next. Here also again you are partially looking at things. Why? Because mind, Akasha, Aditya, etc. has been explicitly said as created by the Shruti itself, correct? There is a Srishti Prakriya in different Upanishads. In that, this mind has been said that mind is created. In fact, mind is created by the food you eat. That's how Chandogya Upanishad says. That's why we say what you eat is very important. Particularly if you are a sadhaka, one portion of the food alone becomes the mind. The subtle portion of the food you eat becomes the mind. Like that in the Chandogya Upanishad it is said. So mind itself is actually a created vastu only. And food itself is nothing but sadvastu only, is appearing as the food, like that. It is connected to the sadvastu. Everything is really sadvastu alone. That's what is shown in the Chandogya Upanishad 6th chapter. Okay. So this mind, etc. are all effects, and they are all asatya or andrita or mithya. We accept that. We have no problem. Okay, continuing what? Janitatvam avadina hi shrutibihi janakena satasya sharira bhritaha mana adi vikara vilakshanatam pratiyanti sharira bhritastu tataha. Okay, now the Guru is showing the vilakshanata again. It's not the same. Okay, when we say mind is Brahman, pot is clay, etc., we do accept the effect as being negated, correct, in those sentences. But it is not the same in Tattvamasi, because Janitatvam nahi avadi, he says. It is not known. What Shrutibihi janakena sata asya sharira britaha. So sharira britaha janitatvam. We have to connect like that. Sharira britaha means what? Jiva, the tvam padartha. So the creation, janitatvam means the getting created, correct? The nature of being created or createdness. So the createdness of the jiva or the sharira brit, the one who supports the sharira, is not known. Na avadi Shrutibihi. So we do not know it from the Shruti that it has been, this jiva has been created by the Sadvastu, like that it is not there in the Shruti. Jiva is not, in fact, we accept 6 things as anadi. The Advaitins accept 6 things as beginningless. In that, jiva also is beginningless. Ishvara is beginningless. Maya, avidya is beginningless. Maya, avidya we consider as one. Some people consider that as 2 also, but that's a different debate. But myself and my guru and all, we think that it is, we need not complicate it by making it 2 things and all that. For understanding purpose, it is simple. See, when you call the potential state, when you look at it from the totality, it is Maya. The same potential state, when you look at it from an individual standpoint, it is avidya, because every night we go into a potential state, correct? Every night when you sleep, whenever you are sleeping, whether it is night or day, in fact, you go into a potential state. That potential state from your standpoint is called avidya because it covers your true nature. That's why it's called avidya. But totally, if you take the entire Srishti also goes into a potential state during Pralaya. There all the jivas also, like they go to sleep, everybody goes to sleep, everything goes into a potential state, undifferentiated state, correct? That's why it is called this avyakrita. The same thing is called avyakrita, maya, prakriti. All these words are same only. Bhashyakara says that very clearly in the Sutra Bhashya also, Brahma Sutra Bhashya, it is there. And it is also avidya lakshana, he says. It is characterized as avidya because from the individual standpoint, that same potential state has to be looked upon as avidya because the avarana is there, correct? It is covering your true nature. And it is potential because you get up again. You don't go into sleep and then become mukta also. It's not there. So there is a bija is there, he says. In the sleep, there is a seed of the individuality is still there. And that seed is covering your true nature. And that seed only has to be destroyed by jnanam, he says. That seed has to be burned. That is the exact word he uses. Whether the burning we have to take it as literally or not is a different thing. We don't have to take it even literally, but knowledge can burn away the misconception, correct? That is the whole idea. That is good enough for us. But the potential state is called avidya with reference to the individual. Same potential state when you take the totality, when it goes into the pralaya, the mahapralaya we say, then it is called maya, avyakrita, prakriti. All these different words are used. So that is also anadi for us. Maya, avidya is anadi. It's beginningless. You cannot say, in fact, that can be easily understood, correct? It's not a very difficult thing. Suppose if I ask you, do you know Chinese? What will you say? You have to say, I don't know. Hopefully none of you know Chinese, I think. Then if I ask you, when did this Chinese ignorance start? Means there is no starting of it, correct? When did it start? It's actually beginningless only. Any avidya is really beginningless. But it comes to an end, correct? Once you know Chinese, it will come to an end. Any ajnanam is like that. Understand that. It's not a very big concept or anything. Don't think that it is very something which is difficult to understand or anything. All ajnana is really a covering. Why? Because all knowledge is already there. Understand that. My Guruji used to say this, in fact, because Ishvara is all knowledge. All knowledge only is manifest as this entire creation. All knowledge is already there. But it is covered by your mind itself. Mind as a upadhi is really a covering. The avidya only is manifest as mind, etc. All this body, mind, sense complex. The very fact that we require an activity, the pramana vyapara, to destroy this covering and knowledge to take place is because of our upadhi is like that. That's where avidya comes into the picture. Avidya is the covering. All knowledge is nothing but remove the covering, because all knowledge is already there. And it's just shining then. Is that clear? That is how we understand even knowledge, even from an individual standpoint. It's all only avarana. The avarana or the covering goes away because of pramana vyapara. So this avidya maya is anadi for us. Ishvara is anadi, jiva is anadi. Then the jiva-ishvara sambandha is also anadi. It is all. Then the shuddha chaitanyam also is anadi. And one more is there. But there is even a verse. I forgot that verse anyway. So the 6 things are accepted by the Advaitins as anadi in general. So they are all beginningless. So jiva being beginningless, like Ishvara also, there is no janitatvam and all is not there for the jiva. Okay, the sharira breath is always there. Therefore, there is a mana adi vikara vilakshanatam is there. Pratyanti. Sharira britaha. So with reference to, if you look at the sharira brita or the jiva is different from mind, etc., which are effects, which are shown as effects of sadvastu, but jiva is not an effect. In fact, sadvastu itself becomes the jiva. That's what is shown by the Upanishads. How? That we will see next. Okay. So 64. Yadaji janadambara purvamidam jagadaksharamikshana vigrahakam pravivesha tadeva jagat swakritam sacha jiva samakhya iti shrutayaha. Okay, so aji janat means upapadayat. It is created. Aji janat is a very interesting verb form. You can go and check it out if you are interested in Sanskrit grammar and all that. Ambara purvam means starting from ambara, means here akasha. Akashat vayuhu, vayor, agni and all. Akasha is the first subtle element which is created. Even in the Srishti Krama, the order of creation, if you see, akasha is the starting point, space. So ambara purvamidam jagat. So this entire universe, starting from ambara or space onwards, they are all, how did they come about? Means aksharam ikshana vigrahakam. The aksharam brahma, it visualized. Okay, that is how this tadaikshata, like this it is there. The Upanishad Vakya is tadaikshata. It saw. It visualized. Bahusyamiti, may I become many. So it visualized sadvastu. Just by identifying with the all knowledge, it visualized everything. So this is there in multiple Upanishads. If you take this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad or Mundaka Upanishad or Chandogya also, this Ikshana. So the Srishti for Ishvara is not some very difficult task or anything. In fact, some theologies say Ishvara took 6 days, 7 days and all that. And I don't know how they even counted day, because I think I don't know when the sun was created and how they calculated days and all that, but it is there. You cannot ask that question. If the sun itself was created on the 6th day, I don't know how they counted all the initial 5 days and all that. Anyway, we do not look upon like that. It is all only Ishvara. It is like, it is effortless, correct? It's just identification with all knowledge. Then the visualization is there. It's only ikshanam. It's only seeing. That's it. So ikshana vigrahakam aksharam. The akshara, which is the one which is seeing, which visualizes, and when it visualizes, what happens? This entire jagat, starting from Akasha onwards, they are all born or they are created. Okay. And then afterward, what? That akshara, yad aksharam, tadeva pravivesha, that same akshara only, tat srishtva, tadeva nupravishate, tadanupravishya, satyatcha bhavate. Like that, different Upanishads have this pravesha shruti. The same akshara alone, aksharam brahma alone, entered the srishti. Okay. Anena jivena atmana anupravishya, like this also it is there in Chandogya. And this tadiha pravishtaha, like that it is there in Brihadaranyaka. So you take different Upanishads, all Upanishads, whenever the srishti prakriya is talked about, they also talk about the pravesha of the Brahman into the srishti itself. Okay. So tadeva aksharam, yad aksharam ajijanat, tadeva aksharam pravivesha. Where did it enter? Swakritam jagate, whatever jagat it created out of itself, it entered into that. And after entering, what is it known as? Sacha jiva samakhya iti shrutayaha. And when it enters, it is the jiva. It entered as the jiva itself. In fact, jiva means here it is available. By entry, what we say is that Brahman is available in your buddhi guha to recognize. It's available. That is the real implication of that. So, tadeva jagat swakritam sacha jiva samakhyaha iti shrutayaha. So, Brahman alone is appearing as jiva. So, you cannot say jiva is a product of Brahman or anything. Brahman entered its own srishti and now it is known as jiva. So, jiva is Brahman. Therefore, it is not an effect and it is not andrita. That's what we are trying to say. So, by quoting the Pravesha Shruti, what the Guru here, Acharya, is teaching is in the case of mind, etc., and even up to space, what you say is correct. But with reference to the Jiva Brit, the Deha Brit, the Sharira Brit or the Jiva, whatever you are saying is not correct because Brahman alone entered. There is a Pravesha Shruti is their entry. And Brahman entered and became this Jiva. So, Pravivesha, Tadeva Jagat Swakritam Sacha Jiva Samakhyaha iti Shrutayaha. Okay, so now through Pravesha Shruti, it has been established that Jiva is not an effect of Brahman. It is Brahman itself is called as Jiva once it entered its own creation. Okay, continuing. Paramatma vikara vibhakta matihi na bhavatyata eva sharira bhritaha yata eva vikara vibhinna matihi na bhavatyata eva mrishatva matihi. Okay, so now what is the implication of saying that Brahman itself entered its own creation and became Jiva? That he is now explaining. The implication of that or whatever, or as a consequence of that, what do we understand now? What we understand is Paramatma vikara vibhakta matihi na bhavati. Therefore, you cannot say that Paramatma vikara vibhakta means that Jiva is a vikara of Paramatma and therefore it is different from Paramatma. All these things you cannot say because Paramatma alone entered its own creation and now it is called Jiva. Therefore, Paramatma is not separate from Jiva. That is our understanding. Paramatma vikara vibhakta matihi na bhavati, he says. Because Paramatma alone is called as Jivatma. Once Paramatma entered its own creation. So the Sharira breath is not separate from Paramatma. Okay. So we do not have that cognition or understanding that Paramatma and the Sharira breath are separate. So from the Pravesha Shruti, it is clear they are one and the same. Therefore, what? They are also not vikara of, that is, the jiva is not a vikara and it is not separate from Paramatma. So yatayeva, because of that only, vikara vibhinna matihina. So the vikara vibhinna mati also is not there. That jiva is a vikara of Paramatma, because some people do say that. Okay, jiva is a modification of Paramatma. In fact, these arguments and all are there in very detailed in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Bhashya. There is a spark Vedanta, it used to be called as by my Guruji, because there is a Vispulinga like that. There is an analogy is given that even the fire is there. There is a big fire that is like Paramatma. The sparks from that fire are like Jiva. It is said that is the spark Vedanta. Then suddenly all these Vishishtadvaitins, Dvaitins and all, they become excited, correct? Because they say now spark is different from the fire and all that. But then Bhashyakara shows that spark also is fire, correct? It doesn't differ in its nature. Whether it is a big flame or spark, it is one and the same. There is no difference. Their very nature, they are one and the same only. So you cannot say that they are different in any manner. In fact, to show that they are of the same nature only, that analogy itself is given. So like that, Bhashyakara very beautifully explains there. So even though this spark analogy is given, the spark analogy also points to both of them being of the same nature alone. Okay. So you can put, either you put a big flame or a spark into a petrol. How does it matter? It's the same nature, correct? So therefore, it cannot be called a vikara or a modification, or it is different, etc. Vikara vibhinna matihi na bhavati atayeva mrishatva matihi also. Therefore, it is also not mrisha. It is also not, mrisha means again false. So you cannot say that jiva is false. None of these things are possible, because Paramatma alone entered its own creation and it is now called Jivatma. Paramatma is Jivatma really. Therefore, Jivatma is not false. Jivatma is not a modification, or it is not different from Paramatma. Okay. That's what we have to understand. Even though they may be equated, that equation should only point to identity. It cannot point to a cause-effect relationship, or it cannot point to a bhadayam samanadhikaranam, cannot be there. Okay, that is the idea. So that he is explaining here in 65 very clearly. Okay, continuing. Avibhakta vibhaktya vidhana krita paramatma padena sharira bhritaha na bhavediha tattvamasi prabhrutau lavanam jalamitya vidhasu yatha. Okay. Avibhakta vibhakti abhidhana krita. Okay, so now he is continuing. The Pravesha Shruti and all was given. In 65, he said that from that all these things follow, and some more things he is saying. Therefore, what? Tattvamasi, if you take, you said that Tattvamasi has a avibhakta vibhakti abhidhana. Correct? Avibhakta vibhakti abhidhana means they have the same case and same number. Prathama ekavachanam. So abhinna vibhakti is there. They both are having the same vibhakti, tat and tvam. Therefore, it is an appositional sentence. Fine. So in that, Paramatma and the Jivatma or the Sharira Bhrit are in apposition. And because of this, what? Na bhavediha tattvamasi prabhrutau lavanam jalam iti abhidhasuyata. So when you say lavanam jalam, so this water is salt. If you say like that, at least there you can say salt is different, water is different, correct? Salt is dissolved into water, because see, even the Dvaitins say that even if mukti is there, it is like the salt dissolving in water. The salt is still separate, correct? But we say that it is like water merging in another body of water. How can you then separate it? Okay, the river goes and joins the ocean. Then what? Can you now take back that water which has joined into the ocean or some reservoir. So a canal goes and joins a reservoir. Once it joins that, it is all reservoir only, correct? You cannot separate it out or bring it back or anything. But the others say that it is like salt getting into water and getting dissolved. Although it looks like one, it is not one. But now the Acharya here saying it is not like that. Na bhavet lavanam jalam itya abhidasu yatha. It is not like salt mixing in water, because you can always get the salt back by evaporating the water, correct? That's how we produce salt also, in fact. I don't know whether you people have seen the salt pans. In fact, near the place where I live, if I go some 50-60 kilometers, there are huge salt pans are there. In fact, it looks beautiful. It looks like it is a snow-clad place and all that. Really, there is no snow there. It is all only salt. And but actually, it looks good, but it's not a very good place to be there. Understand that. Because those who work there, they are all working in very bad conditions. That salt itself, all the time, if you are in a white place, it affects your eyesight. And it's very hot also there. It's not because of heat alone, they have the salt pan there. Understand? And handling and sitting in that salt water also is not, or standing there and working is not very healthy. It is also a problem, really. Anyway, what I'm saying is, if you take a photograph, things can look beautiful. That doesn't mean that place is really inhabitable or it's a good place to stay and all that. We should always be aware of that. So here, anyway, it is not like water and salt. It is actually identical. That's what is the idea. Paramatma and Jivatma are one and the same. They are not different. That's what this appositional sentence is actually revealing to us. Okay, further what? Paramatma vikara nirakaranam kritamasya sharira bhritastu yataha parameshwara rupa vilakshanata namanagapi deha bhritosti tataha. Okay, so now the Guru is finally summarizing the teaching again. What he says, Paramatma Vikara Nirakaranam. So we have now, Nirakarana means we have negated. Okay, what we have negated, that Jiva is the Sharira Brit is a Paramatma Vikara, is a modification of the Paramatma. That is not the correct view. That is not supported by the Shruti. None of the Shruti Vakyas say that. So the Sharira breath is not a modification of the Paramatma. That has been the Nirakaranam we have done now. Kritam Asya Sharira Britaha Paramatma Vikara Nirakaranam Kritam. Therefore what? Yataha Tataha. Because we have done this Nirakaranam or negation, what we can say now? Parameshwara Rupa Vilakshanata na Managapi Deha Britaha. So this Deha Brit, this Jiva, does not have even a little bit. Manag means Ishadapi, you can say. Means in whichever way you look at it, the Jiva is not separate from this Parameshwara. The Vilakshanata is not there. Even a little bit of difference is not there between this Jivatma and Paramatma or Parameshwara. Both are identical. If you make a little bit difference, what will happen? That the Upanishad says. Correct? Upanishad says that Udaramantaram kurute athathasya bhayam bhavati. Even if you make a very small difference, if you create a differentiation between yourself and the Paramatma, what happens? Athathasya bhayam bhavati. Thereafter, there is fear. Because if there is anything other than you, that itself can become a cause of fear. Dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati. Like that, Brihadaranyaka says, only if there is a second, there can be fear. If there is no second vastu at all, there is no bhaya karanam. There cannot be any bhaya karanam. You are there. You alone are there. There is no second thing, in fact, really. So there is no bhaya karanam. That's why the Taittiriya, the Atma Jnana Phala, how does it say? Anandam Brahmano Vidwan na bibheti kutascha neti. Correct? This Brahma, the one who knows this Brahman is Ananda Swarupa, he is Ananda. And also what? He does not fear from anything, anywhere. Why? Because there is no second thing there. And why he is Ananda? Because he doesn't have any guilt also. He neither has fear, no guilt. Because he doesn't think, Kimaham sadhuna karavam, Kimaham papama karavam iti. There is no omission, commission also. For a jnani, otherwise, what is the problem? Anybody, any accomplished person also, you go in his deathbed, you ask. Everybody has some omissions and commissions. I could have done this, but I did not do. I cannot do anymore. I am now going away. Or I shouldn't have done this. Why did I do this? Maybe I could have done something different. All these omissions and commissions, guilt is there. But the jnani does not look upon oneself as a karta bhokta only. So where is the question of any guilt? There is no question of why did I do this, why did I not do this, etc. Because you are not a doer to start with. That is the beauty. That is the Brahmajnani. So there is no guilt, there is no fear. That is real Ananda, in fact. Understand that. Ananda is not some experiential Ananda. Ananda is you are the source of all happiness. You are that very Ananda. That is your very nature, in fact. It's not something to be experienced separately as an object or anything. You are that very Ananda. That is the understanding here. Therefore, there is no question of any fear. And there is no second thing to fear, in fact. So that is the understanding. Okay. Now the student comes back and questions again. He doesn't leave very easily. So what is that question? And again, the Guru will answer. All that we'll see next week. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.